A very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present over here. Thank you so much, teachers and all the educators across various locations, in fact, some states and countries as well. Thank you so much for joining on another Super Sunday workshop. Right in the morning, waking up, and every Sunday, instead of spending some time with the family, dedicating 1 hour, approximately 45 minutes to 1 hour, is quite a task. It's quite a challenge. I would like to sincerely extend my gratitude and appreciate for all the efforts taken by the people across to join sessions like this and improve on their exposure levels and awareness about the Indian education system. Like Super Teacher, there could be like Super Teacher Super Sunday workshop, there could be multiple avenues where a teacher can get upgraded and updated on the latest happenings with respect to the Indian education system. Uh, it's important. What's really mandatory and important is that we take some efforts. Sometimes it could be a small video every night, looking at the CBSE portal or NCRT portal. Sometimes it could be going through some of the circulars that are present on the CBSE academic website. These are some of the things that the teachers are already doing. Or else it could be a regular workshop conducted by some organizations that are there in India. But it's really important to undertake all these things only for the fact that the change in the education system, the change in the ecosystem of education, I would say like that, it's immense. And one of the greatest change that you can see is the implementation of a new type of assessments, and people call this as competency based assessments. For all the teachers who are joining for the first time, thank you so much for joining. My name is Vasudevan Natarajan, and I talk every Sunday on the topics related to the Indian education system, specifically to give awareness and exposure on what's exactly happening out there and what you need to upskill yourselves with, in order to be at the levels that the government is expecting us to. So when we talk about competency-based assessment, this was actually mentioned by National Education Policy multiple times. We are moving away from something called as rote learning to competency-based learning. There were some nice features that we were talking about. The moment national education policy talks about competency based education, there are certain features that we were discussing. One was allowing the students to learn what they want, pointers like student agency. And in order to do that, if a student is really capable of learning something that they are not, according to us, that they're not really eligible, but if they are interested, they can do so. For example, a grade 7 student wanting to learn something related to grade 8 and completing the chapters of grade 7 a little sooner. Similarly, I want to go and present my nation at state level, district level, sorry, present my country, nation at a big level like Olympics or sports activities. I can still do that and, in fact, even get credited for that. So, this particular aspect of one liner stating that the student should have the choice got converted to another whole big document called as National Credit Framework. And what's really nice about National Credit Framework is you will have, or teachers will have, the students of multiple age categories sitting in the same class. which is very similar to Montessori education. If you remember, Montessori education also, we discussed that there could be age group of students rather than one age category present in a particular class. Please read about it, and we have even done a Super Sunday workshop on Montessori education. Let's talk about it a little later. But right now, let's focus on competency-based education as per NEP 2020. Our point of conclusion is policies could be one-liners, but implementation is going to be quite a task. It is just like, if I have to tell in layman's term, if I have to say this in layman's term, teachers generally right after the principal's meeting teachers generally right after the principal's meeting in every school will say the statement, बोलना आसान है पर करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, in a very comical manner. वो एकदम आसानी से बोल देगी, करना तो हमें पड़ेगा ना, something like that. Principals will have a voice, they will directly say some things with just one or two lines, but we as teachers have to implement everything. That's going to be the cribbing line that we generally have right after the principal's meeting. But this is exactly what the principals are cribbing about when NEP 2020 came into picture. How about that? I'm just using the word crib just to bring some humor over here. Otherwise, most of the schools, 95% of the schools, I would say, have been accepting the change in a very positive manner. Looking at the pilot program of SAFAL, see, look at the word SAFAL, and the full form is structured assessment for analyzing learning. We're going to talk about it. So it's like for learning. It's more like, once we get the results, are we really equipped with sufficient resources and competencies to have the student in this particular grade, something like that. We are diagnosing ourselves, we are diagnosing the children, if they are eligible or not, are we doing the right thing or not. So it's going to be more from the perspective of diagnosis. It's just like a patient going to the doctor, and doctor does not prescribe the medicines just like looking at the person. No, there are at least 15 to 20 questions asked, and whenever there is a response given by the patient, those responses are considered to be uh, as samples to match with what the doctor has studied. And if it's matching with certain symptoms that he has studied, then there is a conclusion of, oh, you are infected with so and so, probably you're having so and so problem, and something like that. So this is exactly what the doctor does with the patients, and that's exactly what we are doing right now with the schools. See, I'm not specifically mentioning students over here, and it's very important. Yeah, teachers adapt quickly. You're absolutely right, Sanjay sir, you're right. Let's get on to it. So here in this case, what we are going to do is, we are going to understand SAFAL with this particular session. National Curriculum Framework was talking about competency-based education, and there were a lot of change in the pattern of examination system. But that cannot happen just overnight. And many teachers or schools have been finding it very difficult to equip the teachers and the students, more importantly, to understand the concepts of competency-based assessment and how to actually implement them. SAFAL could act like one stepping stone towards that. The paper, the implementation, the assessment items could give you a very good perspective on what competencies are. And one nice thing about National Curriculum Framework is, for every stage, foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary, in the document itself, they've given a very good list of competencies. Now, competencies can be a one word, or it could be a big sentence as well. Recognize two words and understand its meaning. Now, this could be a competency as well. Let's not have the justification that this is more like a learning objective and not competency. No, because learning objective is altogether a different ball game, and competency is different. It's about the way we look at it. When we talk about competencies, you remember, I think even in the discussion we have said in the past, it's the inclusion of knowledge, skills, and attitude all put together in a certain mixture. And the conclusion is considered to be competency based learning or competencies. Okay. So let's quickly start with these teachers. And today the session is going to be comparatively little different, considering the number of documents released by the Ministry of Education. I would like to go through them in a structured manner so that we have a perspective of what exactly SAFAL is all about. Did you know that SAFAL is going to get conducted in a short duration? I think in the month of July. Let's first understand this. Actually, right after NAP 2020 got launched, in the year 2021 itself, there was a very nice document talking about what is SAFAL and how does it actually work, everything related to that. So for that, what we have to do right now is to understand that. Watch this. I think you'll be able to see the screen in 3, 2. Come on. Give me a minute, teachers. I'm so sorry. Okay. And yeah. So I am there in a place and you should be able to see this. I'm opening the CBSE academic website basically, and you should get to see this if I'm not wrong. Yes, you will be able to see the screen right now. So this particular portal, just like all times, going to act like the holy book for any teacher to learn anything related to what's happening in the Indian education system. So here in this case, you have got SAFAL written over here. Yeah, you got that. You can click on it, and the moment you click on it, it will take us to altogether a different website where it's all about SAFAL, and you can see the link right now. It is from cbseit.in. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So here under this page, let it get loaded. You will be able to hear the audio in 1, 2. Please watch this.
Analyzing learning, also known as SAFAL. For India to realize its demographic dividend, it must have a skilled and employable workforce. The foundation for acquiring necessary and relevant skills is developed early when children are still in school. While we have managed to get most of our children into schools, we are a long way from ensuring that children acquire the skills necessary for future learning. Acquiring skills for future learning and life is like climbing a ladder. Progressing to the next rung is dependent on how strong the footing is on the previous rung. Children who don't develop a strong footing in early years tend to fall behind and struggle to progress further. The National Education Policy recognizes this need to impart competency-based learning and education to children and highlights the role of assessments in doing so. One of its key suggestions is to introduce assessments that promote and assess critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical skills. Let's understand what this means. Consider the question on the left. It requires students to recall basic math facts and perform simple calculations without any meaningful context. It does not encourage much thinking. Whereas in attempting the question on the right, children are encouraged to think critically as they first need to determine the correct operation, make sense of the problem context, and then subtract 3 from 10 to arrive at the correct answer. This transformation in how we assess is what SAFAL attempts to bring about. SAFAL stands for Structured Assessment for Analyzing Learning. It is a competency-based assessment introduced by CBSE. All students from CBSE affiliated schools are eligible to participate in SAFAL. SAFAL is administered towards the end of grades 3, 5 and 8, which marks key points in the schooling journey of children. SAFAL has a short-term and a long-term objective. In the short term, SAFAL will provide data to schools to help identify specific critical gaps in learning and instruction. Unlike assessments such as board exams, SAFAL report cards do not give grades or percentage scores. Instead, they provide schools with information on the specific areas where students perform well and where they don't. The schools can use this to improve their teaching-learning practices. By encouraging the testing of competencies, the long-term objective of SAFAL is to move away from rote memorization towards more holistic teaching. With a rigorous execution of SAFAL, CBSE intends to shift the focus of assessments and teaching learning towards the development of competencies to equip school-going children with the skills necessary for a prosperous future.
So that's with respect to the brief understanding of the video. See how nicely there was one example given about 10, like instead of asking the students 10 minus 3 and asking them to answer the question, how about giving them a real life situation? That's clearly what competency-based education is all about. Just one aspect of it, by the way. So in order to give a clear understanding to the children on the applications of whatever they're learning in the class with real life, indirectly from pedagogical point of view, it is reducing the gap between the cognitive domain and the psychomotor domain. Something like I learn the concept and I'm applying that over here. So if at all I am confident about, if at all I'm confident about, this is where exactly I'm going to apply the learned concept, the students will be far more invested in the learning rather than escaping away. In fact, there was one discussion on technology inclusion into the classroom as well, where the teachers had multiple questions. One very common question even now: should I allow the artificial intelligence programs that are present out there, like Chat GPT, for the students to use it and complete their assignments? Now, the moment I ask this question to you, you might have your own perception. Should we really allow the students to have Chat GPT in the class while completing the assessment? You can put it on the chat according to you. Now, it could have a debatable topic, and there's no quick judgment as of now, as it's a very nascent stage. We're at the initial stage, we're not really able to see the outcome. So we are in a very good position to have a voice or an opinion over here. So there are thousands of people out there who said that no, not at all, it's not really advisable. And some people say that no, whatever happens, uh, it's, you cannot avoid it. ChatGPT kind of artificial intelligence tools are going to be there in the picture. So in this particular case, rather than discussing on will you be allowing it or not, there was one very nice point that was actually made by the Sahodaya complex. Like, if students feel as though what they are learning in the classroom, if the students feel as though what they're learning in the classroom will benefit them in the long run, they will become invested in the learning and won't be looking out for the shortcuts. I'll repeat it. If the students feel as they what they are learning in the classroom will benefit them in the long run, in their real life, whenever they're going to become whatever they're going to become, if they get that feeling, then they will be invested in the learning and not really look out for shortcuts like Chat GPT in order to solve the assignments. I literally made a note of it. So here in this case, the moment we talk about the students being allowed or not allowed Chat GPT, it's something that you cannot control. The teachers might say that you should not use, or there could be methods to track if they are using it or not. But what really matters over here is the initiative taken by the students to look at it or not. I hope you're able to understand. So they will look at it if they really want to get over with assignments and not really interested. But most probably, if they're like, no, let me explore myself, I can be better than ChatGPT, I really love this assignment, then the outlook is going to be completely different. So, in order to instill the second way of looking at the problem, it's important for the teachers to address the students like that. So, do not read so and so, AI generated content. Do not go to play for more than 2 hours. Do not do this. Do not do that. All these statements have proven to us for a very long time that children don't listen to us. You know that, right? So instead of doing that, what could be the other way of looking at it? So these are some of the speculations and smart way of giving assignments to the students. That now when we do that, there are certain competencies that we can inculcate in the children, and that's exactly what SAFAL is trying to say. So even in the question paper, I think most of us would have seen the pilot question paper of SAFAL. It has got a very different way of drafting the assessment items. So the first thing that comes to our mind with respect to SAFAL is what exactly is SAFAL and how is it actually different. For that, we need to get into the SAFAL handbook. And for that, you need to come to the same website. You can click on the resource corner. The moment you click on resource corner, you will get to see the SAFAL handbook over here. See, under resource corner, you need to come down a little bit. You'll get SAFAL handbook. The moment I click on it, it gets opened up like this. It's a 20-page document approximately. I think many of you would have seen this. And here they talk about how did SAFAL happen, where they actually clearly specify SAFAL in Indian education system came after National Education Policy 2020, but it's more oriented towards assessments. And NEP 2020 got manifested because of one incident that happened in the year 2009 and 10. And it was all about that particular exam, which changed the way people looked at education system. What is that exam in 2009-10? I think you know that. Yeah, that's the birth of everything. Have a criteria plus 5. Anyone, what's like exactly? We are talking about the program for international students assessment. It's called as PISA test, PISA by OECD. So in fact, that's how the framework initially began for SAFAL. There were actually papers already ready for, I think, English, maths, and science. And they even mentioned in that competency-based education website that they created in CBSE. But now, even for environmental science, EVS for grade 3 and 5, for social science and the other subjects basically, it got included. So what is purpose of SAFAL in CBSE schools? SAFAL pilot 21-22 was done. I think 2000 schools participated approximately, and all these schools gave a very good report. I mean, these schools were considered like samples for CBSE to develop a robust system. Remember, teachers, SAFAL report generation cannot happen by manual correction. When somebody is submitting the question paper and there is an answer, a teacher like Priyanka or teacher like Himani cannot do it. It's kind of very difficult. For that, people develop softwares. There's a backend program, there's an algorithm written for it, and the computer program does the rest of the job. So when you get the report over there, the analysis is super perfect because it's programmed to do that. Hence, for implementing SAFAL, it's very important for us to have a good infrastructure. We'll talk about that as well a little later. That document is also given to us by CBSE. So let's go further. Then there is something called as assessment framework. How do the questions actually get formed? Then item development, basically the question development, they call it as assessment item. Then sample items for SAFAL, selection and capacity building of SAFAL item writers. Majorly, these are people at CBSE, and even many teachers across the schools have been selected to do this job. Then how does the reporting happen, and how to read the report, use of data and dissemination, and roles and responsibilities of CBSE. So this is exactly what they've given. Let's quickly get on to skimming this document. As I said, this is a elaborate thing. We cannot concise this on the PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides. Hence, I'm just going through the documents and talking about it. You don't have to go through the complete document right after the session, teachers. A little bit of skimming will be more than sufficient for us to understand what SAFAL is all about. You cannot see the presentation? No, I think you're able to see the screen. Okay, now item development. All test items for grade 5 and 8 will ask the student to select a response. That is, choose an answer from a set of 2 or more options. Example, multiple choice items. So here in this case, it's going to be completely oriented towards multiple choice questions and not subjective questions at all. Because the report generation at the back end that's happening can happen with that such kind of questions. It's very difficult for an algorithm, or right now it is not that difficult considering ChatGPT kind of tools, to analyze the answers written by the children, the subjective ones. Hence, this is more like a multiple choice questions. I think the schools which have undergone the pilot, you can please jump in and comment and chime about what exactly happened with respect to your SAFAL. Now, SAFAL will be for grade 3, 5, and 8. And they have specifically categorized in these items, or sorry, in these grades, so that according to CBSE and British Council over here, British Council also played an important role in making the framework for SAFAL. It says that 3, 5, and 8 could act like milestones, or the place where you can check on their levels. So for example, I'll tell you, grade 5 may you can check if the students have acquired the knowledge of grade 3 and 4. 2 levels before. Grade 5 may you can understand if the students are really competent to go to grade 6 and 7. So 2 levels up. So when the students are getting the assessment item of SAFAL for grade 5, the question paper, the whole set, will not consist of questions only related to grade 5. It'll have questions of grade 3 and 4 as well, and 6 and 7 as well. So that's really interesting. So based on that, a school can have a certain criteria. So for example, if I have to consider one school, Army Public School, let me not name any branch. This particular Army Public School students have the capacity to actually go to the next class. Then immediately the next question is, do you really think all the students are eligible? No, not all the students are eligible. We found nearly 40% of the students in this class were able to answer the questions of grade 6 and 7 properly in grade 5 itself. So probably 40% of the students can go to grade 7 or 8. And there also there is a good categorization. How many are eligible for grade 7 and how many are eligible for grade 8? I hope you're getting the connect. So SAFAL will be more like a paper which has got an overview of multiple grades. So in grade 3, it's going to be grade 1 and 2 and grade 4 and 5. So that's how the checking is happening. Nice, right? In grade 8, it will be when the paper comes and when the students are about to write the exam, it's going to be grade 6 and 7 getting tested. And it'll also have grade 8 and 9 and 10 as well. So that's why this paper is considered to be a diagnostic test. Remember, the students need not be informed about this. I mean, informed in the sense you don't have to prepare the students for SAFAL. The most natural thing. It should be more like a fun activity in the school with a lot of seriousness and sincerity. The paper is really important, and it's important for the teachers to tell the students that this just gives a report about the school and not just an individual student. And that is why the score that the students get are not considered to be the actual score. So just because somebody scored 400 or 400, so here the scale is 100 to 500 actually. I'll talk about that. There is another circular over there, and 400 to 5 out of 500 does not mean 80% marks scored by the students over there. It actually doesn't mean that. So it's a complex algorithm at the back end, which gives a very detailed report of what exactly the school is doing or must do in order to improve the competencies of the students. Let's understand this in a detailed manner a little later. With respect to compulsion or not, well, I'm not really informed about it as of now. If the school has got good in IT infrastructure, there are some schools where they really have good computers labs and system. They should participate. There was a form released, I think, in the month of January, February. I think you all know this. SAFAL was actually supposed to happen in the month of April itself, not July. It got postponed somehow. And in case if you want to know about it, you should go through the circulars and we will do that. See, Kamal made one roti as shown in the picture. Okay. If he shares half the roti with his sister, how many pieces will he get for himself? Now, here in this case, instead of the roti, we could have just said that it's a circle, which is a traditional method of asking the question. But look at the way they have changed it. It's just that there is more connect with what they're doing in their day-to-day life. A circle is represented as roti because roti is what they're looking into on the day-to-day basis. You can't say circle and expect the students to automatically connect circle with rotis without doing it in the class. That's why real life orientation. And they've got the answer over there, and let's not. So again, sample items for EVS and science. Again, there's another question. Arun hears in the news that the forest next to his village will be cleared to build some factories. On hearing this, he's worried about the animals in the forest. Why is Arun worried? Now here there are options. These options play an important role. Now, the villagers use animals for their livelihood. One second. The villagers will be angry at the factory took away their land. The animals will lose their natural habitat. The animals will fight with each other. Now, here in this case, if you look into these options without looking into the key, you'll be surprised that actually answering this question is quite a difficult task. See, here in this case, each and every option seems to be correct. Arun hears in the news that the forest next to his village will be cleared to build factories. Factories are to forest clear karna padega. On hearing this, he's worried about the animals in the forest. That's it. Why is Arun worried? The villagers use animals for their livelihood is not wrong. That happens. That's how cattle rearing happens. The villagers will be angry that the factory took away their land. That could also be right. Most cases that happens. Now, the animals will lose their natural habitat is also absolutely correct. The animals will fight with each other. Could be the case because there's a lot of chaos. The place where they were staying is taken away. So they have gone to another place where all of them are probably together. The beautiful part of competency-based assessment is you will be in always a confusion mode to to mark the right answer. So what really matters is here not the right answer teachers, but the distractors. How well you have written the distractors. Now it's very important for the students to be sensible about it. And yeah, exactly, critical thinking is a very good word over here. And here, what is that particular option? If that is taken care, rest of the things will also be taken care. So that is how C came to be the right answer. The animals will lose their natural habitat is on the priority. If that is taken care, the villages will use animals for their livelihood is also taken care. The rest of the things also will taken care. But the moment you get into A, B, or D, A, B, and or D, and if you try to solve that particular problem, there'll be another problem coming into picture. We are not trying to discuss over here how to solve competency based assessment. Hence, I'm not going in detail of or in depth of this question as such. But the point here is you would have understood this up to 20-30% if I'm not wrong. Animals will lose their natural habitat is the most eligible answer over here, because if you mark that, rest of the options are actually taken care. So the animals are dependent on forest for their food and shelter. Due to clearing of forest, they will lose their natural habitat. Hence, C is the correct answer. So these are some of the levels over here. See, there is something called as proficiency level. We'll talk about proficiency level in another session altogether, because every competencies is mapped to 7 proficient levels according to SAFAL handbook. And it's a very good way of looking at it. Deliberately, we did not do this in the past because understanding competency itself was quite a challenge. So uske upar proficiency again would be burdening. So we are not touching that right now. So then again, you have got the case-based question and the assessment, item comes into picture. So this is what is very important. So to write questions like this, it's very important to have capacity building program for the assessment item writers. So who are going to write these questions? Those people. But indirectly, this is going to be applicable to you also, to us also. Why? Because board exam is going to change towards that. Your regular exams are going to have a lot of multiple choice questions. Competencies are going to be tested on a day-to-day basis. So who's going to give us the question paper? We are in a position to draft our own sets. For that, we need to be upskilled. And that is why CBSE is regularly conducting a lot of sessions on what is competency-based assessment, what is competency-based education system, and even on Super Sunday workshops, we keep talking about it. I think you're getting the connect. So let's go down. Then they talk about reporting, and this is very nice. Look at this. So here in this case, you can see, well, this is just a representation purpose. The actual report looks a little different. Now, language competencies, they've given language competencies over here. You can see this. It's about the language subject over here. Now, these are the competencies. Retrieve information. Okay, let me zoom it a little bit. I think some people say that you're not able to see this, but now you should be able to see this. Great. See, retrieve information that is explicitly stated at a word level. Okay, so probably you should be sound with vocabulary or something like that. Yeah. Interpret information, probably of a complete sentence or a paragraph, something like that. Reflect on information. It's about comprehending what has happened and responding according to that. So these are the 3 competencies, in this SAFAL question paper, the complete paper that the children are actually tested on. So for that, let me zoom it little out so this is the percentage of students. You can see that in that particular class. So where does this happen? Probably this is happening in grade 5 level. Okay. So all the students are there in grade 5 right now. And you would see that 20% of the students, only 20% of the students in the class are able to meet grade 3. That means nearly 20% of the students are not even eligible to be there in grade 5. So they need a lot of extra support in order for them to actually come to grade 4 and even to grade 5 later. 30% of the students, they meet grade 4 or grade 5. And only 50% of the students in that particular class are eligible to be there in grade 5. So here in this case, would you be happy that 50% of the students are eligible and you're excited about it? Or would you be sad that nearly 50% of the students are promoted to grade 5, but they're not really eligible to be in grade 5? So it's quite a diplomatic and dilemma situation over here. I'll show you the actual report. You'll be even more, in a dilemma stage. The students are not able to interpret information. Nearly 30% of the students are able to interpret the situation, information of grade 3 category. Then grade 4 category, again, another 30%. Only 40% of the students are able to interpret information at grade 5 level. But look at this, reflect on information. So looking at a question when they're trying to comprehend, they're coming up with some conclusions. Nearly 50% of the students are able to meet grade 3, only 30% in grade 4, but nearly just 20% in grade 5. Indirectly, it very nicely communicates that this particular group of students need a lot of additional classes, not just on this particular competencies, not just on grade 5 level, but also at grade 3 and 4 level. So that's an important learning. So this is basically one sample report of proficiency levels that they've given. The actual report also came out. We'll talk about that. So diagnostic reporting, they talk about indicators and reporting and the same thing, whatever we spoke right now. And they have something called as the band. We'll talk about the band little later with an example rather than just reading over here. So here in this case, you can see they have given meets grade 5 level, 181 to 200, 151 to 180, 120 to 150. So that's a score that they get. But what's really interesting is 200 to I think 300 or 350. I don't know. It's a random number. It's a decimal number. It's for grade 6, and that number to 500 for grade 7. So it's like grade 5 is not only tested for grade 3 and 4, grade 5 students are also diagnosed on grade 6 and 7. That's what they call it as band. So this is with respect to SAFAL on how it will be done. So I would request the teachers to go through this document whenever you get time. And that's it. It's a very small document giving you precise and clear understanding. Now let's understand with respect to the report, the actual report, and this will complete the picture. So SAFAL Pilot February 2023 reports was released on 1st September 2023. What exactly they were talking about? Let's see this. Now, first of all, to get the school-wise report, you need to click on this link. You need to put the affiliation number and you'll download the complete report. You can even print it out. But right now, I think teaching is less, calculating, grading is increasing and going on. Pratima ma'am, you're absolutely right. So the teaching is less cannot be a fact right now. Why? Because here in this case, the report generation is happening completely by the software. It's not a manual work at all. So um, though we say that there is increase in the complexity of writing the assessment items, there is a drastic decrease in the efforts and the pain that a teacher takes while correcting the question paper. You remember, right after the exam, you get bundles of paper, especially if a teacher gets multiple classes. They even carry these bundles home and they correct the papers. Just imagine that pain. Your whole summer vacation sometimes goes off in that. Well, in private schools, probably you complete that and only then you leave the school for vacation. But in government schools, I've still seen a lot of people, carrying the question paper back home. I've seen my parents and I've been, so they just correct the complete paper and they write the marks on the left. And me and my brother used to have the totaling done for my parents. So they'll have some total and I do the checking. First level of quality check, second level of quality check is done by my brother, younger brother, and then that comes as the right report out there. Indirectly, what I'm trying to say is we used to work part-time for our parents who were teachers. So that problem is going to get completely solved. I think if you're still doing it, I think eventually that will get reduced, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. So anyways, the burden on paper correction is going to drastically get reduced if the correction can happen by the algorithms. See, what is the point of having so beautiful artificial intelligence programs out there that cannot reduce our work? Just giving the lesson plans. I think lesson plans is way easier than correcting an answer sheet. Sometimes teachers even get very happy when the children hardly complete 1 or 2 pages of their answer sheet. They're like, oh, wow, nothing is there, let me just put 1 mark or 2 mark and close. But sometimes it becomes quite a task for all those students who have completed the complete question set. But anyways, let's come back. So accessing SAFAL report, they've given some screenshot on how to do that. So once we get into it, now you can view the report of selected grade and subject. Now this I would like to show in the form of, I hope you're able to see this. Please watch this, teachers. Okay, yeah. I would like to zoom it a little bit. This is almost the last part, don't worry. Okay, so about SAFAL, and this will give you a very good picture, teachers. So the structured assessment for analyzing learning. The sample papers of SAFAL will be present on the CB website, and you can go through the SAFAL handbook itself, that itself has got multiple questions. Remember, you are not going to prepare your students on SAFAL. I'll keep on repeating this. This is not a stress related activity. The only stress ideally that a school should get is improvising on their IT infrastructure and spending some periods of other subjects in allowing the students to write this particular exam. So you might have to probably extend on some of the non-working Saturdays in order to complete the portion, or have a different strategy altogether to complete the portion. But that should be the maximum level of a stress that you should take. And this is also solely dependent only on the school principal and the teacher and probably whoever is managing it. Ultimately, the students should not even feel that they're doing something which is kind of getting them into the competition. They were so particular about it that the report does not come student wise. You will not even know what which student has written what. It's more like an anonymous report. The school will get the report. Look at this. So here in this case about SAFAL, the structured assessment for analyzing is a competency-based assessment implemented across grade 3, 5, and 8. It measures the student achievement in key competencies across the curricular areas of mathematics, language, EVS, and science. Okay. Now here in this case, language, I'm not really sure if it is for both Hindi and English and regional languages. I didn't get that clarity, though the language framework is out. I'll talk about it. But if anybody knows about it, you can put it on the chart. Yeah, it's only for English according to my knowledge, but I'm not sure about it. Yes, exactly. If you have done the pilot and if you're aware about it, and some schools are going to take the exam from, I think, the month of July, 23rd, right? It's starting on 23rd, if I'm not wrong. So please let us know that if it's only for English or even the regional languages. Okay, here we go. So to equip educators with specific and actionable insights into students' key competencies, this enables targeted academic support, ensuring students receive beneficial guidance to enhance their learning journey. So to equip educators, the teachers, with specific and actionable insights into students' key competencies. So you should know what the children should learn. To supply schools with reliable, comprehensive data, facilitating the tracking of learning quality. Now, this tracking is called as a report. The tracking is really detailed. In fact, if there is a school in the region, in the vicinity, in that particular region, if there are 15 to 20 schools, let's assume 20 schools, where do you stand? Now, SAFAL report is going to play an important role in competing with the neighboring schools on quality of competencies. That's going to be interesting. A positive competition, I would say. And in fact, this is a confidential report, not to be published anywhere. Maybe you could use it, in internal discussions or in Sahodya meetings, but this is a confidential report. This report will not be available to other schools. So suppose if a school called as Sishya BML public school gets the report, that report cannot be accessed by probably another school nearby in KR Puram, Amarjyoti Public School. So here in this case, for the report to be shared, both the principals have to talk, and then with their communication, they can share if they want to. Otherwise, it's a confidential report. About the SAFAL report and reporting scales, this is what they're talking about. So they've got something called a scale scores and proficiency bands. Remember, scale scores are not the raw scores. Raw scores is this particular question paper is of 100 marks and I scored 85 out of 100. That's raw. But here it is more like a scale score. One example of scale score is actually called as the percentile system. The person who got who's a topper of the class, who got 95 out of 100, for example, that person is considered to be 100. And all the children who have scored, probably 90 or 85, they get moved forward towards 94 or 89, depending on the score, the percentile calculation, the way you do it. So this is going to be a scaled score. Facilitate comparisons of SAFAL results across different assessment periods, thereby tracking progress. I'll show this example in a proper manner. Let's go forward over here. Right after scale scores, they have something called as proficiency bands. These bands divide student achievement into 4 clear levels. Now, what are these 4 clear levels? Let's talk about it. Each level shows that the set of skills and knowledge that a student is expected to have at that point, and any lower levels. By organizing student achievement into proficiency bands, SAFAL enables a user-friendly and easily comprehensible view of student learning progression. Let's understand this with the graph over here. So this is the band that we are talking about. Look at this. So proficiency band may below basic. Exam is going to happen for grade 5 student, right? If there are certain questions which are going to test them, are they really competent about whatever they've learned in grade 3? Now that's called as below basic, 2 grade levels below. Are they really competent about what they've learned in grade 4? That is basic, 1 grade level below. Proficient is at the grade level in grade 5. Are they competent to attend the session of grade 5? Yes, they are. And that's at the grade level. And then advanced about the grade level. It's like, no, this child deserves to be in grade 6 or 7. What are you doing? Let's promote him, do the double promotion, something like that. But here in this case, it's not going to be just the student teachers. It's going to be the majority of the students in terms of percentage. Let's look at that and look at the scale. It starts from 100, ends at 500. Now here in this case, I would like to show that to you. So there are 3 reports generated over here. The first one is called as the consolidated report, proficiency distribution, and competency report. This is the last part of it. And for this, I would like to show you in the form of a zoomed in manner. So here in this case, you can see this. Figure number 1 talks about consolidated report, where the school number of students participated 151, average scaled score is 295.40. Now in that particular school has scored only 295.40 out of 500. indirectly communicating that, see, your region has an average score of 317.40, like the vicinity schools that we were talking about, but you've scored only 295. That means you really need to improve a lot. Not a lot, I think, what, a little bit, not much. But state, oh wow, luckily the state is also having 317.40. See, state and region seems to be the same. Probably the whole state is considered as a region because the number of students participated is not really that high. Could be. So there could be a small state where less number of schools are there. In order to generate a good report, teachers always remember, as per the computer algorithm, it requires huge data. You cannot have only 3 schools ka data and come up with a report. The report could be right, but largely wrong. But if you have more number of schools, the report could be largely right and a little bit of wrong could be there. So I hope you're able to understand. So more is the sample, better is the understanding, something like that. District 327.04. District should have come up if I'm not wrong, if that would have been a better way of looking at it. And all is interesting. All is like all the participating schools across India. Not only India, even Middle East, Singapore, Malaysia, wherever our CBSE schools are present, if they're participating in, SAFAL. So average scale score is 308. So 295.40 is not bad. It's fine, no problem. Now this is with respect to the school report in compared to region, state, district, and all. Now comes the next part, which is called as proficiency distribution. Now this is with respect to those proficiency that we were talking about, the bands. You remember grade 3, grade 5 students, if they're writing the exam, are they really for grade 3 and 4? Are they really into grade 6 and 7? Let's understand this. So here in this case, I would like to zoom in a little bit more. I'm really sorry if it's not clear, but this is the document that we got from the CBSE, right? Let's make it 350. You should be able to see this. Now, proficiency distribution, you can see the pink color denotes below basic, the yellow color denotes basic, green denotes proficient, and blue denotes advanced. Now, in this report, they talk about like school. So this school, ABC school, 33% of the students of grade 5 actually fall under below basic category. That means they seem to be there in grade 5, but ideally they were supposed to be in grade 3, 33% of the students. Next is basic, which is grade 4, 12.09%, which is like 12% of the students seem to be there in grade 4. They're not ideally supposed to be there in grade 5. But 28.57% students are proficient. They are supposed to be there in grade 5. Now the teacher is happy about it. But what's really happy about this is 26.37% are above, they're supposed to be in grade 6 or 7. You become even more happy. So look at this data. For a school, 28.57 plus 26.37, approximately what, 54.94, 55% of the students of this particular grade are really good. They are in grade 5 or they could be in grade 6 or 7. Are you going to be happy about 55% of the students being like this? Or are you going to be sad that 45% of the students in this class are still not eligible to be there in grade 5? I hope you're able to understand. See, even if these numbers are quite, varied, even if 15% of the students, just 10 to 15% of the students are supposed to be in grade 3 and 4, and, 85% of the students are great in grade 5 and above, still the school and the teachers will not be happy. I told you about the dilemma, right? How can you be happy when you're sure that some set of students in this particular class are really not competent? Even if it's 2 or 3 students, you're actually not going to be completely happy. So this report will give you a very good picture for understanding on what you should be taking as a remedial measure in order to get those 2-3 children also with the same level. That is why this report is important. See, without any stress, you get this report. Let's go. With respect to region, 22.66% of that whole region we're talking about. The students, let's consider this region to be, just to give you an example, probably one area called as New Bombay. I'm just coming up with a larger region, but New Bombay or New Town of Kolkata, or it could be one region called as New Delhi is quite big, but let's consider only Noida for that matter. Or in Chennai, let's consider everything, on the other side of Tambaram and things like that. So the point over here is region specific. If you get into that, gives you a better picture. So 22.66%. Now, according to your school, it's 33%. So you're happy or sad? You're actually sad. More percentage of students in your school fall under below basic category, but in that region, only 22.66% fall under below basic category. So ideally, this area should be smaller than this. At least that's what a school should aim towards to. Similarly, 9.73%, then 23.65%, and 43.97%. So in that region, this percentage of students are in that grade level or above the grade level. So that's the majority speaking over there. I hope you're getting the connect. And finally, the state, you can be happy because state has got bigger percentage of students below basic category, but only 32 points. So it's a marginal difference, but still there is a difference. But 11.69, it's very close, the state and the school. So the school is somewhat the mirror representation of the state. But throughout India, look at it, you're actually very, like, doing really good. Throughout India, 39.62% of the students are falling under below basic category, 11.26 under the basic, 20.9 and 28.22. What, approximately 49%, 50% of the students, 2029, yeah, they are coming under the category of at the grade level and above the grade level. I hope this gives you a clear picture, teachers. See, this comparison of schools with such a robust data was the need since a very long time. There were multiple organizations coming into picture. Some private organizations even have the awards dedicated for such kind of quality check. I think this is the most reliable because it's directly testing the academic part, right? And that's how the intention is. It's about competency based assessment education system. That's what we're trying to inbuilt over here. And the report gives a detailed analysis. Now, when I think Pratibha ma'am said about it, right, it's more about grading and calculating. Well, it's more about reading the report right now. The time that you spent in correcting the papers, probably you're going to spend that time right now on reading the report and making new lesson plans, something like that. Now comes the competency report, which is the last part, which is about the competency. Now, recognize the meaning of common grade level words, more like a vocabulary sort of a thing over here in grade 5. So 71% of the students fall under grade 2 level. So if a class has got 100 students or in grade 5, nearly 71% students cleared all the questions that were from grade 2. I hope you're able to understand. You remember, we established a fact that at that particular grade, you're going to have questions or assessment items from 2 grades before and 2 grades after. So 71% of the students, 2 grade level below, they were able to answer the question right. So obviously they would have gone to the next level. But here, 77% of the students were able to answer 1 grade level below. So probably 3 and 4 people were able to answer. But only 67% of the students were able to answer that grade level, and 58% were able to answer above the grade level. Remember, this competency report is very different from the school report because here overlapping will happen. There could have been students who gave the right answer to this, right answer to this, right answer to this, and this. So they fall under all the categories. So this is not a comparative analysis. That is why it's very difficult for us to comprehend this report. And very nicely, they got the 3 forms of report: consolidated, proficiency, and competency. So that's a great work, done by the ministry out there. I do not know how far this is going to be, easily implementable in the school. And I think the pilot schools can, jump in and say that, yes, this is really beneficial and not whatever it is. So do not treat SAFAL as a traditional high stakes examination with pass or fail results. Do not include or induce exam related stress, not at all required. So hence, do not prepare students for SAFAL. No. Do not categorize a grade's performance as proficient or deficient based on the SAFAL report. There are many principals out there in this group also who have done SAFAL kind of diagnostic assessments, even without, you know, out of their own initiative, or even without something like this since a long time. So they call that as diagnostic test. And there's this organization called as Education Initiatives, which used to conduct an exam called as ASSET. So they have also prepared some question papers and launched on CBSE. So yeah, develop a comprehensive understanding of your school's performance, identify competencies, identify areas requiring improvement. So this document will give you a very good picture, and there are very good FAQs actually right after this. And whatever I spoke, those things are written over here. See, you can see this. This is illustrative scale. Below basic, 100 to 276. Basic, that means 2 grade levels. 1 grade level, 276 to 299. Proficient at that grade level, grade 5, 300 to 345 approximately. And advanced, 345 to 500. So our target is going to be, let's fall under this category. For that, we need to work in every grade sincerely. That's it. And just imagine, after 5 years, once you consolidate all the reports, the kind of report that you would get will give a lot of good insights. This is where my development is all about. So this is with respect to raw score and a scaled score. Let's not get into this, teachers. So that's it from my side. I hope you get the picture. Whatever we spoke is present completely over here. I would request you to go through this. And next year, if you are going to attempt, SAFAL, you'll be in a better position. And suppose if you're doing it this time, I think the teachers who were not aware about what's going to happen afterwards, I think you would have got an awareness about what exactly SAFAL is all about. SAFAL is a nice word. I really like it because it's about success in Hindi, and it has got an English full form, like structured assessment for analyzing learning. How come these people become so creative? I don't understand. Anyways, that's interesting. Anyways, plus what are the ways to okay, we'll talk about it. So anyways, teachers, let's conclude on the session today. I would like to reiterate the same thing once more, so the session's reflection form is coming on the chat. Please try to complete this by 6 p.m. today in order to get the certificate. 6 p.m. is the first criteria. The second criteria is you need to score 7 and above. There are a lot of chances that I might delay in giving the certificates, considering the number of reflection forms that I'm getting. But I'll be very sincere about it. But there could be delays. So I request everyone to please complete the assessment before 6 p.m. and have a score of 7 and above. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and 9 out of 10, and 10 out of 10. And then you'll get the certificate. The certificates which are submitted to the principal are considered to be under the category of mandatory CPDRs only when the principal approves it. So end of the day, it's all about your principal respecting your work and you respecting the certificate. As simple as that. So make sure that you report this to the principal right after every session, probably on Monday, that I've completed this and this is the certificate that I got. Sometimes there could be delay in the certificates, but at least you can send some screenshots to your principals. So that's pretty much about everything, teachers. One last announcement. We're going to soon start an exclusive training program only for computer science teachers out there. In fact, in the circular also, it was clearly mentioned, the nodal officer of a particular school will be somebody from IT department, a computer teacher. So the SAFAL is going to be completely governed by the computer science teacher in the school. And there will be master trainers assigned by CBSE whose trainings have already got over, and they're traveling to various locations and helping the school in setting up their systems. The point is, computer teachers are gaining a lot of importance. So in order to understand that area and understanding that there is a lot of need of training over there, we are going to conduct free training programs for computer science teachers in collaboration with IIT Hyderabad. We've been doing this for the last quite some time, for the last 2 years, and this time it's going to be called as CS Gems. I think you know CS Gems, many people. So CS Gems is going to be for exclusively computer science teachers. 2 teachers from a school can participate. Soon we will roll out the collaterals of that and how is it going to happen. It's going to be a physical session as of now, happening in Hyderabad and Bangalore, the first run. And over the period of time, it will go to other regions as well, like Delhi and Kolkata and things like that. It will not have any promotional activity as such. It's going to be purely for the purpose of uplifting the computer science teachers. So that's it from my side, teachers. It was great interacting with you. Today, I'm connecting with all of you from the capital city of India, New Delhi, and probably next week I'll be in Bangalore. So it was great interacting with all of you today on a detailed understanding of what SAFAL is all about. I would like to soon see you with another interesting topic the next Super Sunday. Until then, Jai Hind and bye everyone. If there is any question, you can actually put it on the chat. I'll be here for 2 more minutes. And let's see if I can answer some of your questions. Okay. Yes. So SAFAL right now is only for CBSE board. Good question. But it's going to be there for ICSEs also eventually. See, SAFAL is completely conducted by CBSE, right? So the affiliation number is required and all these things. So probably ICC will come up with their own pattern of shuffle. Maybe they don't call it a shuffle, but that's going to be there because the exam pattern has got changed. It's aligned with what CBSE is doing, right? Can you please motivate on how below average student of class 10, what are the ways we need to make them ready for boards? Very important. Meenakshi ma'am over here and all the teachers, see, motivation and discipline are two important things that the students need to inculcate by themselves. Chalo, motivation bhi kuch had tak, there are very good people out there who can really talk to the students and encourage them. It could be you, it could be me, or it could be people like Sandeep Maheshwari on YouTube. Anybody it could be, and they can really do a very good motivation job. Or JP Gandhi in Chennai, he used to be a great motivator. But motivation does not sustain for a long time. In that particular moment, if the speaker is powerful enough, that can sustain for 1 hour, 2 hours, or maximum for one day. But apart from that, whatever motivation that you have for yourself, it's going to be only under the category of self motivation. And for that, whatever it needs, you have to do it, and the students have to do it over here. But on the other hand, discipline is like, even if you do not want to study right now, you have fixed that this is study hours under the timetable. You get up, you sit and study, irrespective of your mood, irrespective of the scenario in home at that particular moment, irrespective of students or friends calling out to play. You still take out the book and study because that particular time you decided for studying. That is discipline. So if you can inculcate this attribute in the students of discipline by giving them a proper algorithm, by giving them a proper timetable, I think it could. There is this technique called as Pomodoro technique. I think Pomodoro or Pomodoro, if I'm not wrong. 25 minutes of study and 5 minutes of break. 25 minutes of study, 5 minutes of break. Again, 25 minutes of study, 5 minutes of break. Do this for 4 times. That's enough. So you'll have a proper 4 hour session. No, 2 hour session. So if you can do that regularly, the concentration span could increase. So this is one way of getting into the track of discipline. There are many others. Please research. That's a good question, Meenakshi ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, Rabia ma'am. Marla ma'am, next week's topic is yet not decided. There is a confusion on few topics. My team is still deciding on it. Social science is included, sir, in the form of EVS. I think in grade 8, you need to check it. This year, I think it's getting included. I forgot to check the circular on that regard. Okay, right now, let me not do it. Let me just look into the chat, but it is there. We need to attend exam, then only we'll get the certificate. You need to attend the reflection form to get the certificate. You're right. Sure, Nisha ma'am. Let's do it. What is there in that? Thank you, Kamla ma'am. Thank you, everyone, teachers. Okay, let me check that. I think many people are asking for the same. I go to the circular. And the moment I click on this home circulars, so you can see this on the screen. Science, Max, language. Yeah. So it's actually not for social for grade 8. You were right, Dilip sir. Let me share the screen and for the teachers who are here. So this is the schedule. You can see this. You have got pre-SAFAL activities, edit window, data review, 28 June to 5th July. This will not be extended. April से extend हो रहा है. SAFAL for English medium schools, 22nd July to 12th August 2024. So that's the timeline. It's not 23rd, it's 22nd. And 12,000 schools will participate, 11,974. Grade 8, science, max, and language. It's happening on Monday and Tuesday. Maths on 2 days. Language. Grade 5. It's on 30th July. EVS, maths, and language. I think they'll include social. Don't worry. They'll definitely see the complete framework is gradually getting adapted from the PISA, right? So PISA, you've got things that are really ready-made right now. Over the period of time, probably it will get included. Uh, Due to the closure of schools, one more cycle only for schools in Middle Eastern countries and those in the states of Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and Himachal Pradesh shall be conducted in the month of September 2024. Schools need to participate only as per the schedule given above. So Middle East actually starts from the calendar year, I think September. That's the reason it's happening at that particular time. And they've given the complete rules and how to log in and everything. So I got this from, the CBSE website. So SAFAL, which came over here. Yeah, you can see this. There's one more school registration for participating. I think you should go through the complete training program as given by SAFAL. Let me show that to you. So SAFAL, I think it was CBSE academic unit. Let me check this. Yeah, this is it. And they also had a detailed training program for nearly 1 hour 43 minutes. Yes, see, orientation program. 5 months ago, it was done. It gives you the complete insight. Whatever I spoke, the little that I spoke, it is from this place only. So, orientation program for SAFAL.
Downloaded as
Let me share the link with you all. Stop share the screen. And yes, great. I think that would provide you some sort of conclusion. Now, let me look into the other chat. Yeah, I'm so sorry, teachers. The session is okay. Thank you. Thank you. You didn't get the last certificates of last 3 sessions. Okay. Teachers, if you're not getting the certificates, you need to email to swati@superteacher.in. Be patient. She will definitely reply. And if there is a delay in the response of Swati and because of that you didn't get the certificate, don't worry. It is on us. We will give you the certificate. 6 out of 10 is eligible. I'm so sorry, Arugam Mary ma'am. It's not eligible. Dheeraj Sharma sir, the PDF of every session comes on LinkedIn in the form of newsletters. So if you have the LinkedIn profile, it's great. Otherwise, please have a LinkedIn profile. I'm not able to give the PDF to all. I mean, there are many teachers who are joining, so there needs to be one community where we can join. So you can either be part of Telegram group because there I share, and the Telegram group is link is there right on the top of the reflection form. Yes, ma'am. Every Sunday, the class link will be there. If you're not able to find it out, go to the superteacher.in website. On the top, you'll have something called as upcoming events. Under that category, you'll be able to see it. Check your mail ID, check your spam emails, or you should get it. Okay. Swapna ma'am, I think within 30 days. You get the report within 30 days. It was mentioned somewhere, but I'm not being confident right now. I think within 30 days. AI and social science. Sure, Sheila ma'am, let's try to do that. Okay. Anyone else? Manarani ma'am, I think there are a lot of portals. Diksha portal is one, Swayam portal is another. You could also get into CIET, Central Institute for Educational Technology. Government will always conduct free trainings only. There are certain courses, of course, of a certain cost. You could go to CBSE training portal, multiple training portals. Thank you, Deepa ma'am. Thank you, teachers. Great. I'll share it on the group, Telegram group, sir. Swati is SWATHI. Yeah. Ta is represented as THI here in the southern part of India, right? But that's not the case in the northern part. Ta is still TI. For example, Aditi, ADI, THI अगर लिख दिया तो there's a war between Aditi and Vasu there. I do not know why, but thank you so much. Thank you, Tamanna ma'am. Shachi Gupta ma'am will do some competency-based questions for sure down the line. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. That's great. Shall we close? I think sample question paper for class 10, you need to go to the CBSE website. Click on CBE resources and there's this assessment tab over there. Check on competency-based education system emergence in the YouTube by the Super Sunday workshop by us. I have shown the links over there. If not, we'll do it again. Chalega. Great. So it's almost done. Thank you so much, teachers. I would like to close the session today. I'll see you again in the next Super Sunday workshop. Have a Super Sunday. Bye, everyone.